Do you think kids raised by single moms make better partners, spouses than kids raised by single dads? As an adolescent, did you resent the opposite sex or better understand, empathize due to upbringing? Sarah.
Yeah, she came with the
heat.
So it's different ways. Wow.
She came with the heat. You want to start, bro, or you want me to?
Man, I think wow, I think that's a great question. God, I think number one, my ma is for me, she raised me to be as transparent as possible with women. Um, that's the main thing, is be transparent. And she always said, look, women are different, and you know, there's you hurt one, and she's going to be vengeful, and you won't ever feel anger like the vengeance of a woman or a hurt woman. So you need to kind of govern yourself accordingly with that in mind, and always keeping consideration that at the end of the day, you know, you want to make sure that you aren't out here doing the things that will get your ass bit. You know what I mean, by a woman. Um, so transparency is key. And you got to make the judgments to, either don't play with no woman. Like that was her main thing. Don't play with no woman. She never put a woman above, like, yeah, you need to kowtow to a woman or anything like that. So she was always about just mainly being transparent and forthright with them, and don't play games. As far as it like going into for me being a better partner, I think honestly, um, I think it's different. It's a difference for different people. Like my mom, she's not soft, if that makes any sense. Like my mom's kind of tough. So I honestly, personally think, I think John would be a better uh, partner for a woman than I would be. I have a resistance of control. Like I can almost feel at times where, um, and maybe it's just because, like, again, I was a rebel. So, while my mom was independent, she was also strict, and I was a rebel. And so, like, I think I struggle with relationships because I don't like that control portion, or like giving myself up to be controlled. So I would say that probably in my case, it may make being my partnership is different. Like, I'm not going to come from a standpoint of, how can I explain this, man? I'm trying to articulate it where it makes sense.
Quick pause. Listen, did you guys know that I had a Patreon page? What's Patreon, you say? Patreon is a fantastic service that gives content creators like myself an additional way for subs and viewers like yourself to be able to support the channel so I can continue to provide high quality content for you. Listen, as you guys may or may not know, the type of content that I do here on YouTube receives scrutiny and might become demonetized. So Patreon is a fantastic service that I like to use to provide additional benefits for those that sign up for the features that I am offering. Click on the link down in the description box down below and go see all of the things that I'm offering. Everything from behind the scenes to extra content, dozens of hours of content. All right, now let's move on with this video.
I think. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say.
No. Go ahead.
I was gonna segue into an additional question. I think I already know the answer to this because I know you. But the general mantra is being raised. Having a single mother raise a single son will make them feminized. Will feminize them.
Yeah. No.
I want you to be able to react to that because I do see this and I do hear this. There's a lot of dudes that I know that are raised in a single parent by the mother. Father wasn't in the house, and they are punching bags. They are fake tough. They are loud, right? They fucking talk a lot, right? Like they're emotional. They're feelings based. They make they make decisions based off of how they feel. They get into they bully people. They get into fights off of ego, right? They can't control their anger, right? Like I just want to get your reaction to that because I think a well-rounded person needs both, whether
Yes.
you're male or you're female. I think a well-rounded person needs both sides, and I've struggled with that. Oftentimes, I get into these conversations with people that are so rational, they're so analytic, based off of logic, and I just can't comprehend how they can understand a topic or situation, or like how do they like right? But why do you think that when we have the data? Like what like what's wrong with you, right? So like so I know that I've lacked that in my life. So I just want to get your perspective, being raised by a single mother. How do you feel about that? Like um this concept of young men being feminized by single mothers.
I it's I mean, I guess I could see it where I it doesn't apply to me. Like my mom wasn't. I think she worked extra hard to ensure that that didn't happen to me.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense. Like she wouldn't allow me to be a punk. If that make it, like it just wasn't in her nature. Like it was just kind of a very kind of matter of fact culture like within our household. It wasn't really that in between. It was very like very matter of fact. So no, I can't relate, but I do see that where I think the moms where single moms sometimes turn their sons into like their husbands or their husband replacements, and therefore sometimes the guys get an inflated sense of ego and entitlement,
Yeah.
in the real world because they're built up as the king. The only thing my mom did in terms of treating me as like a husband or whatever is put my ass to work in the yard like a slave. Like that's the only thing where I got any time.
Right.
Like yo, like she's the reason why I refuse to move into a place with a yard
Mm.
because I don't want any of upkeep. She's taking all that out of me. Like
Yeah.
I want no parts of landscaping. So I think that's what it comes down to is like when these moms glorify their sons and their kings and their little kings and da 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 da. It builds this false sense of entitlement to some of these guys, and they don't understand that there's opposing views and their views aren't always right, and how to get along because they're used to being the king of the hill. It's like putting a king into regular society. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Entitlement, bro. I think you hit the nail on the head. These participation trophy ass kids that are coming up nowadays, I just feel like things should just be handed to them. And they shouldn't have to work as hard for the success that like you and I have achieved. You know what I'm saying? There is that, but let me bring it back to is it so much as the gender that's raising you versus the experience, right? Because I think like your mom had a southern upbringing with heavily male influence, so I think that within that you got really lucky because you had things instilled in you with the backdrop of masculinity, right? So it helped you take in information in a way that's more rational, right? That's more however you want to call it. Um, so is it less on gender and more on experience?
I'm gonna have to go with experience. I think it's more on experience, less with gender, because I think that if men do the same thing. They could do the same thing in a parenting situation where they entitle their child to you're supposed to be given this, you're supposed to get this, you're special, you're the best, and blah 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 blah. And I think that that individual, if their experience is that's how they have to coach their child or bring their child up, that's what you're going to get. If all you know is that you're special, you're supposed to, you're going to have, if you teach that into your kid, it doesn't matter whether you're male or female, because I know both can do that. I think the experience is, and I don't want to just keep like being a mama's boy, but the experience, mama, it was no, you're supposed to blah 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 blah. It was you can compete with, you are just as good as. So that's the words I grew up on versus kind of like, yeah, no, you're supposed to be there, or this is yours, or yeah, no, you go to college, you're supposed to get a good job, or blah 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 blah. Like that's not what I grew up on. So I would say that her experience then translates to her teachings for me, versus somebody who maybe was given it, and so they don't know what it's like to really work, or they never had it. And it's kind of like with people in getting married, they assume that something's supposed to be like this and it's supposed to be like that, so therefore they're just like, hey, the way to build a successful person is to basically make them feel entitled or make them feel that they already have it. You know what I mean? So I think that it goes down to experience, and it's not really gender. It just goes into that person's belief of who's given the teachings.
You know, it's a fair point. I can't disagree with it. I think the experience, it also has to be tied to, like, for example, I think if I was raising a young man, I would be way more equipped to do that than raising a young woman or a young girl, because my experience is based off of how my pops led it for me. And this is back to my original point of having two in the household, at least two in the household, to be able to usher that young person off into maturity, because I don't know how I would do it for a young girl, which, I feel like is a very important segue. So Sean, so you have a young daughter, she's coming up on 2.
No, 3.
She's coming up on 3 now. Yo, it's been too long since I've seen her, bro. We gotta work on that.
Yeah.
She's coming up on 3 now. God damn, 3? It's just, time is just rolling. She's coming up on 3 now. As being a father, in ushering forward a young woman, a young lady, a young girl, what are some of the things that you've learned on this journey, that maybe you wish you would have learned a little bit earlier, kind of going forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, man, and we kind of hinted on it before, the biggest thing is to let people be people. My daughter is a person. She's not my belonging. She's not my ownership. That's my daughter. Like that, the only thing I own is my relationship of being her father, but I don't own her life.